Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Angela Brennan and today I'm bringing you a very long video on the Jack of all trades sets as well as the Wild Joker that was recently released. I start off with the Deluxe deck BetterPress plate. I do like this BetterPress plates and it comes with some really good sentiments as well as the enhancing suits facets, and you got 3 different die sets and one of them is the Wild Joker that was recently introduced. These die sets, they all go with beautiful sentiments. It's all about playing cards. So if you've got members of your family or friends who like cards, I do have 2 in my family, and I think these are appropriate cards and very suitable for the various occasions in their lives. Now, I like BetterPress plates because you can hot foil them as well as letterpress them, and I'll show you both ways I use them today. I start off by hot foiling the Deluxe deck BetterPress plate by putting the dull side of the hot foil against the card, the pretty side of the hot foil against the pretty side of the BetterPress plate, and you just put it through the glimmer machine from Spellbinders, and you get a beautiful impression of that Deluxe deck hot foiled image. What a perfect background it makes. It just on its own, you don't have to do much with it. You can just leave it as is and just use a sentiment. Gorgeous. But I also get to create the negative image. The negative image by using a solid rectangle hot foil plate. I used the Catherine Pooler hot foil plate because it's larger and it covers the entire image. So I can get all of the image and you can get a beautiful negative impression, which is just as gorgeous as the positive impression. And look how clear that plastic is, which is an indication that all of the hot foil has successfully transferred onto the card. And to get successful hot foiling, I always use the hammer mill card, which is a nice and smooth card which is perfect for hot foiling. And here I'm doing more hot foiling with BetterPress plates from the enhancing suit facets. I also do a positive as well as a negative image hot foiling because I get some beautiful images, and I'm also doing some hot foiling of the sentiments as I carry on here. When it comes to sentiments, I do like hot foiling them better than letterpressing them. So with sentiments, I've just hot foiled all of them. And this sentiment set comes with a gorgeous banner with the ribbon tabs for the banner as well. So you'll see me do that later on. So you can get a really beautiful way of presenting each of those sentiments. And here I'm going ahead and doing the negative images of those enhancing suit facets as well. So I use both of them in different cards. I do make quite a bit larger cards in these sets here. The largest card I make in the 30 cards I made is a card 10 inches by 7 inches. It's quite a large card, and quite a few cards I've made where it's 14.8 centimeters by 21 centimeters, which is double the size of a normal A6 card I make, which usually measures 14.8 centimeters by 10.5 centimeters. So because the images are quite large and I do have so many positive as well as negative images, I tend to make quite a few large cards and I incorporate quite a few of the sets together as I create them. These enhancing suite facets do not come with a coordinating die, but because they're quite a generic images or shapes, it's easy enough to just fussy cut them, pair of scissors, and I do cut them both the positive and the negative images. I do fussy cut them with my large scissors, and if you see, I'm moving the card and not the scissors when I'm cutting them. It just lends to a smoother cut. Once I've cut all of them, I'm going to place them onto a large card. This card is the double of the size of an A6 card, so it measures 21 centimeters by 14.8 centimeters, and I've got 2 of the suites. I'm putting it flat with double-sided tape, and because I'm going to overlap them, the other 2 I'm placing them with some dimensional tape behind it. And I'm looking to see which sentiment goes. I end up using the happy birthday sentiment, and I've attached die cut the sentiment with the die and the banner that comes with the shuffling sentiments BetterPress plate set. So I've hot folded and I've used the die that comes with the set to create this, and I put a bit of dimensional tape behind the happy birthday sentiment, and there you go, the card's done. Now I'm going to do some additional work with these sets inside the card. So the sentiment is sending you a royal flush of good wishes. I use one of my rectangle die sets and I die cut 4 rectangles, and I've used my corner punch to get those shapes in the sides of each of those cards there, as you see with playing cards. And I'm just going to create a royal flush, which is a 10JQKA, and I'm using the hearts. So these little die cuts of the numbers as well as the shapes come from the pip and rank die set, which is part of the Jack of all trades set as well. So it all coordinates so beautifully together. So I think with the sentiments, when you've got two of a kind or a royal flush or a straight, you can use the basically these are all sentiments that go with the poker. If you play poker, you can just Google it and see. So a royal flush, when you've got the same suite and you've got 10JQKA, and that's inside, I've put there. So sending you a royal flush of good wishes, happy birthday. It kind of all goes together. See how it all ties together so beautifully. This is the Kaleidoscope Noble Suits die set. Now you've got all the 4 suites, and you've got 3 dies for each of them, so they layer beautifully. Now you can use them in different hues of the same color or different colors, and I do both. I show you how to do them. It's quite addictive when you start doing this. So I started die cutting and putting them together while I was watching one of my dramas that I was catching up on telly. I think it was a Netflix drama, and I was doing that, and I ended up making so many of them. And that's why you see them in the assembly of the cards, that when I do my wild joker as well, I use them. So here I'm just dotting the liquid glue behind the thinner die cut. The thinnest die cut is the one at the top, so I'm dotting it, and I do smudge it onto a scrap piece of paper because I don't want the ink smudging everywhere. And then I place it, and it's so easy to fit them together because the outer shape is all the same. It's just gradually the layers get thinner, so you can see the back of the color, the third color, and it just shows a little bit, and you can see all the 3 colors. How pretty is that? It's so easy to put them together. All you need to do is choose the color. Just dot them, and I find liquid glue is easy enough to do here. It does look like it's a lot, but you just dot them, smudge them, place them together. So you can either use coordinating colors like this, which is different hues of the same shade, or you can use contrasting colors. And I think I like the contrasting colors just as well as the colors that I use graduating hues of the same shade. So it's really up to you. And you can use them separately on a card on its own or together with the other elements like the background of the Deluxe deck or the Wild Joker. And I'll show you how I do both of them. It's really, really up to you. Or you can just use one on its own as well if it's a smaller card. So versatile on how you can use these different suites, the Kaleidoscope version of it anyway. So I've ended up making so many of them, and you can see here. It does take a little bit of time and patience, but it's quite therapeutic and quite addictive. Now this is the reversible royal court die set. So this is where you make the king and the queen, and you can use them on its own or you can do a double. As you see a playing card, you can see them on both sides, so you can see them upside down. So I'm just separating the dies here where you use for the queen and for the king, and some of them are together, especially the crown. So you just need to do it. The first time you do it, it's quite a bit, you might think, oh, there's so many dies here, how do I put them together? I'm showing you step by step on how I split the dies and how I'm going to do that same king again. So the king comes with a few different props, if you like. I'll show you how I assemble them step by step. Every single die, when you die cut it, there will be an etched line. So even the shield here, there's an etched line on how I put the darker purple onto it, an etched line on where you can put the cross onto it. So it's so well guided. Even the sleeve of the king, you see the little bits of extra elements there. It's all guided on how you put them together. When I'm showing you how I put them together here, you just need to get familiar with where each of the item goes the first time around. By the time you get to the second one that you do, you will be more so familiar that you can start thinking what colors I'm going to use. So what I would suggest is split the king and the queen dies separately. The first time you do, try to follow the colors that are here so it's easy. And once you get familiar with it, by the time you do your second one, you'll be choosing your own colors because you'll know how they coordinate well together. This V here, the lighter purple could have gone behind the suit or behind the top there, and you can just put the border of the white on the top. You can do it either way. And here I think I've done it where I've put both elements at the top. So it doesn't really matter. It's meant to go either way. But I think if you want to do it properly, the lighter color will go behind and you see the etched lines on how to put them behind. Easy enough to do. So these hand for the king here, there are different props as I mentioned, and all of them can go through the little hole that's die cut in the finger, so it'll hold the prop. So you've got that different elements that can be put together. Here I'm putting the head of the king, and I'm just putting a little bit of a blue card behind just because I want to give the king some blue eyes. You can leave it black, or you can leave it even the same color as the hair because you can cover it as well. So it's really up to you, because if you don't put a different color for the eyes, you'll get the color of the hair because the hair die cut will cover the eyes. It's up to you, but I decided to show you that how you can change the color of the eyes. Or if you don't want to do that, you can just put gems for the eyes. In fact, I end up to putting blue gems for the eyes, so you needn't have put that die cut at the, not the die cut, the strip of blue cut behind as well. So you put the moustache, and then I'm just putting the crown with some metallic colored card. So just to give it a little bit of a shine, to show that gold there. And you see the body of the king coming together so quickly. There you go. I really hope you find the assembly guide so useful. And if you do, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, do remember to press that notification bell so you're alerted when new videos are uploaded. If you notice, because I want to make an identical version of the king, because I'm going to have one upside down as you would see in a playing card, I will be putting those die cuts, overlapping them to make sure they really mirror one another, and you'll see what I mean when I put the sleeve as well as the shield onto the second king. So the first one on the right that I've already completed is what I'm trying to emulate here, because that's going to go at the bottom. So you can see it both ways upside down on the card, as you would see on a normal playing card. So I just place it onto the card or the king that's already done, and then I'm just putting a little bit of cellophane tape behind it before I glue the arm together there. So you can see them easier to put together in place. And the glue that I'm using, the liquid glue that I'm using, dries clear. So even if it smudges out a little bit, it doesn't really matter. So now I've done the sleeve, I've done the hand, and I'm doing the little prop here that you're carrying, and I've got all the elements that I've already die cut in gold. I hope you get these sets. They're available on the Spellbinders website. So this is the Jack of All Trades set, and they recently released an add-on to that set called the Wild Joker, which was released in early April, or the 1st of April, I think. And you can get them all together. I suggest if you're going to get these sets, get them all together, because you've got the coordinating sets, the sweets, sentiments, and the Wild Joker. I absolutely adore the Joker die set, as you'll see later on in the video. You can go really crazy with the colors you use for that as well. So all of the products I've used, I've listed it in the description below, so do check it out, and do check out all the other videos that I put together on my website, Angela Brennan Creations. I almost exclusively do Spellbinders products now, be it their monthly subscription kits or their releases that they have. They have new releases every month on their website. You can check out all the elements there. So the sword here, you can see even that the handle of the sword, there's a little etched line for you to just place it on. So easy. And because there's so many tiny die cuts, get yourself a media picker tool. I'm using the crystal katana. It's so handy. And here you can see how all the various props can go into the little hole in the hand of the king, so it can hold it up, and the sword goes the other way around, and you can just tilt the hand so it doesn't cover the face of the king. And I'll show you how I use all three in three different assembly of the king. The king also comes with a different hairstyle and headgear, and I'll show you that later on. With so many colors here, don't worry if you don't have so many colored cards. You can always die cut everything in white card and color them with the inks that you have. I do use a little bit of dimensional tape here. It's only a 1mm dimensional tape because I want to just add it onto it just to give it a little bit of differentiation. And I'm placing it onto the other king there to make sure that they will mirror each other with the dimensions that I'm placing with the shield, because you don't want it to be placed too out and it doesn't look great when you put it on the playing card. And here you go. I'm just placing that so there's a little bit of a dimension. That strip there, I'm going to be putting onto there. That's the connection between the two little die cuts of the king. And you've got ready to go onto a card. And you can see this is kind of mirroring how you put it onto a playing card. This is the other look for the king with the beard. So easy enough to put together because you just need to place the head the same way and you're placing the beard. And I just make sure it's in the right position before I glue it all together. And you can put that together. You can either go any color really. And I think I have show you the brown and I also have a blonde king later on. You can either put the headgear, which is the crown, or you can put the little cap beret with the little feather on it. And I'll show you that shortly. So different looks for the king. Here you've got the little cap I mentioned, and it's got a little tiny little thin strip to go at the edge of the cap to show, yeah, that bit there in black, and then a little feathers in blue and yellow to go. All of that you can see the dies at the top there, just to show you which dies you need to use to create that. And that's what I'm trying to create there. It's either the king or the guard, if you like, and not always the king. So maybe it's the guard because the way it's being held. So I just wanted to show you how to put this together. Once you put these things together, you will get used to it. So don't let the sheer number of dies and the number of tiny pieces scare you, because I think when you put them all together, it looks so pretty, especially when you choose some nice bright colors. I think it just is worth the time of die cutting all the elements and putting them together. I think it makes for a gorgeous card at the end. So now when I'm putting together the king, I'm just going to put a little bit of a glue here just to stick. The stick will go on the back of the hand, and I'm going to use some dimensional tape to make sure it goes onto the body of that guard or king, if you want to properly. So if you notice, I'm going to make sure that the shield on the right is going to coordinate with the shield of the other. The first one, when you put together, you can just put it how you see fit. But I think the second one, you want it to mirror. So I'm just putting it on top as I did earlier, and I'm going to make sure they mirror one another. You'll get used to doing this. Obviously, you can use only one. You don't have to always put both of them together. You can just use one and just put a strip of the sentiment. And I'll show you one of the queens. I did that so you can see how it looks. Here are all the three kings I did. And I did a double on both because I wanted to show you the different headgear, different hairstyles, different props. So each of them have got a different prop, and you see how I put the sword to the side there. This is the queen here. I've already done one. The queen's got two different props. So in one she can hold a rose, and one she holds a goblet of wine. So again, I've put a strip behind to have a different colored eyes for the queen because I wanted brown hair. So if you don't put a strip for the eyes will be brown just like the hair, because as per the king, the queen's back of the eyes is also covered by the die cut of the hair. So it's totally up to you. Or you can leave it and put a gemstone. I end up putting gemstones for all the eyes. It's something I wanted to do later on, but it's just up to you how you want to put it together. All of the elements here, you've got the little ruby lips, the necklace. I've cut it in gold because I wanted a gold necklace, or you can put it in a platinum colored card, totally up to you. And here's the collar of the dress or the gown that the queen is using. It's quite intuitive how to put the queen together because you got all the etched lines on all the elements of the queen, just like the king, to put them together. So as I said earlier, the first time you put them together, you'll be thinking, where does it all go? But once you separate the dies, as I showed you, between the king and the queen, then you will see how they can go together quite beautifully. So you can use metallic card, you can use glitter card. I've not used either. I've just used normal card here. But these are the other things you can do, especially for the little borders, the bands. You can use glitter card. It'll look really pretty. I did not do that. I'm just thinking about it now as I'm doing the voiceover for the video. I could have done that and it looked quite pretty as well. Even for the crown, I could have used a glitter card. Here the cuffs and the border on the for the dress, I've used all the same color. And the rose here, I think it's a rose. It looks like a rose. I've used red here, and you can use any color here. You can use them separately. as rose. It's totally versatile in how you put them together. I really hope you find inspiration on the gazillion cards that I've done for these sets here. If you do, please let me know what you think, whether it's enough inspiration or it gives you a lot of ideas on how you put them together. I would love to hear from you. Any constructive comments are totally welcome, either on my YouTube channel or my Instagram, which is Angela Brennan Creations. Both social media, I've got the same name, Angela Brennan Creations. So do drop by and let me know what you think of this video. It's a very long video, so I'm going to timestamp it to show you where the die cuts are for the King, Queen, Joker, the Deluxe set as well. It's up to you which ones you get. So the suites, the Kaleidoscope suites, I really liked using that as well. So I think it all goes together. But if you really want to get one set, I would go for the Wild Joker. I just absolutely liked it. But then the Kaleidoscope of the suites is also a set that can go on its own. But I think if you get all of them together, they coordinate so well together. And here what I'm trying to do is just make sure that the hand of the Queen holding the rose is the same as I was doing it earlier with the King. I'm just trying to mirror how they all look. So when you put it on the same card, as you would see on a playing card, it just looks exactly the same. So I'm going that extra mile to make sure it looks exactly the carbon copy of the image above. So be organized about the way you put your die cuts on your craft space, how you die cut them, how you arrange them, and then you start your assembly and you'll see your image or your assembly of that image come together really beautifully. You take my word for it, follow the same color scheme, and then you'll be going off on your own and doing your own colors before you know it. And this is me putting the Queen together, ready to be put onto the card front or the playing card front, whichever way you want to. I'm just securing it with some cellophane tape at the back, and I will attach it to the card front with some dimensional tape behind the die cut. So I end up showing you here how I put the goblet together, which is easy enough to do. It's just two die cuts here. You got the goblet and a little red die cut for the wine, or the wine that's in the goblet. So that's easy enough to put together. I really hope you find the guidance on this assembly really useful. If you want, what you should do is bookmark this video, and then I'll be time stamping where all the assembly of each of the King, Queen, and the Joker is, so you can just go and check it out, have it in your craft space, so you can follow step by step on how to put it together. And once you do it once, by the time you do your second assembly, you'll know exactly where it goes, what colors you want to use, whether you want to use the same hues, contrasting colors. So the first Queen you see, I used different hues of blue. The second one I decided to branch out with a teal and a little bit of an orangey yellow, just for a bit of contrast, because I think it goes well with the red wine in the goblet. So simple enough to do. And this is the Wild Joker set. The Wild Joker die set has got quite a few dies again. So I've die cut in various different colors. It also comes with a sentiment joker, and I'll show you how I use this in 3 different ways on when I do the card assembly. So these are the jokers that I've already done, and I've went really colorful, and this is another color set that I'm using. So you choose 5 colors. So I went with black and white for the neutrals, and I chose 3 other colors: red, yellow, and green. So try and go with that initially, and then you can branch out to different colors. You can see all the etched lines on the leg of the jokers, and you're just going to put that strip, a little bit like your strip on your tracksuit at the side. So I've chosen to go. I put same color here, but you can put both strips a different color. Totally up to you. But I tend to go with 5 colors. So 2 neutrals and 3 brights, or you can go with all 5 brights. That is totally up to you, and I think you should experiment. Again, if you don't have coordinating colors, get 5 coordinating dye inks you have, or any inks, distress inks, any inks that you have, die cut it in white card and go and color away. So yeah, I'm attaching the tops of the thigh of the legs here with some dimensional tape, just to have it a little bit of dimension on the 2 different legs of the Joker. I like doing that, so you will see me using a little bit of dimensional tape when I do the assembly of the legs, and the arms as well, just and the face of the Joker as well, I think. So all of it is not too thick, the dimensional tape, but just a little bit for a slight differentiation. And here, even to put the little shoes of the Joker, there's an edged line. I'm not sure you can see it in the video, but there is an edged line on where exactly to place that curve of that top of that shoe there. Honestly, it's so well guided, well designed, and the guide it gives you, it's so easy to do. So if you see the bodice or the body, you can see where the arms will go. It's etched there. As you put your dice away in a tiny container, because there's so many dice, you don't want to lose it in your craft space. So I have a small container there to put the dice as you're done with them, so it's nice and easy. For the second arm, I'm just putting a little bit of dimensional tape before I place the second arm, the green arm, just so that it has a little bit of a lift from the other arm of the Joker on the body. As I put this Joker together, I'm in awe on how colorful it is and how easy it is to put together, and what a lovely outcome I get. So this is why I end up doing quite a few of it. In fact, I do make one more when I'm doing a card assembly, because I think the background of that deluxe deck would be nice to put another Joker on it. So I end up making another later on. I don't show it in the video, but you'll see the final card. Now for the back of the hat, if you like, of the Joker, I'm just placing it directly together like that. Again, the edges, it just matches so beautifully. Even the collar that goes around the neck of the Joker, it all goes so well together. You don't have to guess, because they kind of all fit together so snugly and so beautifully, that you can create the same thing again and again, because the die cuts are so well sized and well easy enough to place them to get what you need. So even when you want to place that collar there, there's a little bit of a etched line on the body, the red body die cut, that you can just follow it and place it. So this little bit here is to just to make sure the black eyes of the Joker. So that's nice and easy. It doesn't have to be black, it can be any color, but I went with black here. And you've got the big smile of the Joker. Again, there's an etched line on the face that you can just place it exactly where it's meant to go. It's perfect. And here I place a tiny bit of dimensional tape before I place it onto the hat, or the green and yellow die cut there, before it goes onto the collar. So just a little bit, again, very, very thin dimensional tape, because you don't want it too thick. You just want to get a little bit of a lift, because you've got so many layers to the card. You don't want to show that. So you just want to show there's a slight lift there, that hat, and then the collar around the neck of it. You can't really see the neck because it's all hidden in the collar, supposedly anyway. So there you go. That's that top of that done. So how quickly and easily it came together. And then you just put that little bit of dimensional tape there before you place it. You can see that little bit of a V there, and that's what I'm following on the edge line. And there the top of it is done. Now I've got a bit of a cuffs. I've gone with same color cuffs here. Again, you can put different colored cuffs. You can go crazy with the colors you want. This is what I've decided to do. But I think when you get your set, on the packaging, there'll be a suggestion on how you can put it together as well. I suggest you go with that initially, and then you try to get a bit more creative and branch out on how you want it all to go. So the hand, the gloved hand, again, it just goes behind those cuffs. Easy enough to put together, and it tells you, you don't have to guess which pattern or which angle fits. That's where the hand goes. And you just put a little bit of glue. This one I just use liquid glue. Gives you a little bit of time to move it in place to make sure it's nice and well aligned. And then you just fit the bodice or the top of it with the legs, and you're done. Then you just need to add a little bit of props and what the hand's going to hold. I just use a little bit of cellophane tape here to put it in place, while I also use liquid glue to make sure it's all nice and snug together. You don't have to use the liquid glue, because when I place it onto the card, I'll be putting some dimensional tape behind the die cut of the Joker. Here I've just chosen 5 colors, all the 5 colors that I've chosen to put the Joker together. And it comes with just 3 cards there in the die, but I decided to do 5 cards because I just wanted all the colors that I used to be part of the cards that the Joker is holding in his hands, one of his hands there. So just a little bit of glue it behind it, and then there you go. He's holding all of it together. And this is the final little rod or for the little prop for the Joker. So this dies, that red bit I'm putting there, it comes as a separate die. I'm just putting it onto, and then you've got that rod that holds it together. Again, all glue, and I'll just glue it onto the hand, the other hand that's not holding anything. How easy was that to put together? I know when you watch it, there's so many elements, but don't worry, you will get the hang of it. Don't let the sheer number of dies overwhelm you or scare you. As I say, go step by step, follow this assembly guide and or even the guide that comes on the front of your packaging, and just go with it, and you will realize how cool it is to actually be able to put this together and get some amazing jokers. You can even do all these die cuts, keep them separately, and then do them all in 1 week and then assemble your cards another time. That's probably the way to go, and that's kind of what I did. I just got used to the assembly of these, the kings, the queens, the joker, and then I did all of my hot foiling one day, sentiments one day, because there's so many other things I've got to do on a daily basis. So this is why it's taken me a little while to get this video out, and that's why I decided to put it all in one long video. I hope it's not too long, and I hope the time stamping of the different elements helps and it's really useful. And here are the 4 jokers I've done with various bright colors. So you even got one with different colored shoes. Totally up to you. Here the 2 elements of that strip joker comes. I'm just using some best hour craft tape to keep them together, and I will just die cut it. I'm going to use a slightly different joker behind it, so I'm going to die cut it initially with black. So I would put a little bit of a shim to make sure that all the alphabets are die cut properly. And see that Joker that I remove, I do keep them because I do use them separately later on. So that's my other way of using the joker. So you can die cut it so you get the words, the alphabets come out clearly, and then I'll use that single die cut it with some gold, and then you can put that behind the joker so you can see that. And this set here, this die, comes from the Shuffling Sentiment set, so it's got a bit of a banner that can go behind the Sentiment Joker. That I will show that I'll use that in the other sentiments as well. It's very easy to put together with some liquid glue. In this joker here, the other sentiments that comes with the Shuffling Sentiment BetterPress Plate die set, the sentiments there that I have hot foiled, you can use them in conjunction with the joker, or you can use other sentiments, because some of these sentiments go so well together with all of these jack of all trades as well as the joker. Or you can just use it as a birthday. So some of it I've just put joker and I've put happy birthday. It really depends on who you're giving it to, and that goes so well together. And this is how I put the little banner together. I put a little bit of dimensional tape, and then at the back I put a thicker dimensional tape so it just sits on the card front well together. So that's done there. You don't have to use just these sentiments, as I said, so be creative with it. Here I've used a corner punch to just round out those edges, and I'm just going to put foam sheets. I like putting foam sheets on the back of my card panels just to give it a bit of a dimension, and then I've got a black mat as well to put onto the card before I put it onto the card front. I just sometimes of late I've liked putting a lot of mats, and I do use double-sided tape for all of my mats, and I've just got this queen that goes onto the front. I've got dimensional tape because there's so many layers of the card. I think dimensional tape keeps it and makes it quite smooth and nice. I'm just putting it onto an A7 card front. An A7 card measures 5 inches by 7 inches, and I'll put a banner of the sentiment at the bottom there. There's not much I need to do in this card because I've done all the hard bits with the hot foiling, the die cutting, the assembly of that image there. So easy enough to put together. So if you've got all of that done, the card assembly comes beautifully. And this happy birthday comes from the Shuffling Sentiment BetterPress plate, which I hot foiled. So you've got all the elements there. How pretty is that? This is part of the Enhancing Suite Facets BetterPress plate, which I hot foiled. Earlier you saw me use the negative images and I did a card. Here I've got the positive image and I'm doing some coloring with my Copic markers. I don't show you all the coloring. It takes me a little while. Once I started, I thought, should I just do one of the suits? But I decided to do all four. And this is where I make my large card. I make a card that measures 10 inches by 7 inches just to put all these large suites onto it once I finish coloring. I do some coloring on it, and because I've hot foiled it all onto the hammermill card, the hammermill card is a nice smooth card and it's quite conducive to Copic markers as well. So it does blend quite well together, but it does absorb the color quite a bit. So not my best first choice, but a nice enough choice for Copic markers when it comes to coloring and blending. You can use any marker really, or you can just leave it as is. In fact, I even show you how I do some ink blending with these suites as well, the same shapes. All of them, I have die cut them. I'm not sure why they didn't come with coordinating dies, but it's easy enough for me to fussy cut them and put them onto a card front. So this is the mat that I'm going to put onto the card front. I'm just putting a little bit of a darker blue, which is a tumble glass, on that light blue card panel before I place that card, just to give it a little bit more dimension, if you like, a bit of a shadow. This is the very large card, 10 by 7, and I've got a black mat that I've put onto the card. Again, loads of double-sided tape, and all it comes down to is putting those colored sweets facets onto the card, placing a couple of sentiments or a sentiment, and there you go, it's done. The thing is, all these elements, it takes a little while to hot fold them, color them, think of the colors, cut the card panels, put them together. But once you've got them all, putting them together is so easy. So I've got loads of dimensional tape behind each of those shapes, and I'm just going to place them again, not too thick that I can't put it through the post, because I'm quite concerned. But this card is going to be not posted, it's going to be handed over in person, so it's a nice colorful card, I think. Let me know what you think. It's a rather large card. I don't always make large cards, but some people like larger cards, and I like to accommodate and make larger cards as well. And I liked using that banner look for the sentiments, so I just went all out with it. I do like how the card turned out, though it's very large. Do let me know what you think about it. Now I'm going to show you loads and loads of assembly and different ways to put together. This is another enhancing suite facets that I hot foil. I hot foil it with red hot foil, and I'm just using 3 different blues to just do some ink blending very, very quickly, nothing too fancy. This is what they call the foil resist, because wherever the ink lands, where there's a foil, it will resist, so the ink will stay on top of the foil. So once I've done all the ink blending, all I need to do is take a dry cloth and wipe off all the ink that sits onto the foiled areas, and then you've got a beautiful shiny foil come through per usual. So easy enough to do, and you can go colorful or not. I decided to go with just one shade, one blue, one color with different shades, just to show that, and then I just assembled that quite easily. There you can see the shine of that red hot foil come through. And whenever you do ink blending, I tend to use my stamp wheel, or you can use any sticky mat, just to make sure it goes, it sits there as you're doing your ink blending. This is a card that's double the size of an A6 card, so it measures 21 centimeters by 14.8 centimeters, and I've got coordinating envelopes that come with it. I saw it on sale on Amazon and I just got it, so I do want to make larger cards every so often, just so some family members like larger cards, so it's easy enough to go to make these cards, especially when you got large images like this. So if you're going to put one image, you can use a smaller card. Here I'm putting together the card for the king die card. I've got some non-permanent glue there that I've put onto the card. So I'm going to put this frame around it. So I've cut that frame from that rectangle that you see I've placed onto the card panel there, because I want to make sure the frame is nice and snug. I'm going to attach it with some liquid glue, and then I'll remove the rectangle red panel in the middle so that that frame is there for me to put, just like you see in a playing card. On the face of a playing card, you can see that little rectangle, and then I'll place the king that I assembled, you saw me assemble earlier on with some double-sided tape, and I've got that K and the hearts. So the K comes from the Spellbinders Be Bold uppercase alphabet die set, and I've put double layers of each of this because I wanted a bit of dimension on the K and the heart. So I've got double layers there because I do want to use dimensional tape for it. So sometimes you can get your dimension with doubling them up as well, rather than always using dimensional tape, just to give it a little bit more dimension. And your kind of a big deal sentiment, again, it's from that Shuffling Sentiments BetterPress Plate set, which I hot foiled. And here I've used a different die that I had in my stash to die cut it because it's too long for the die that comes with the set itself. Card done. Nice and easy. See, got all the elements. It looks like the front of a playing card, doesn't it? I like that element of that. Here I'm going to do some blending, ink blending in the background, and I'm going to use the king and queen here together to make a slightly different card. It's not a playing card. I'm going to make an anniversary card by putting this king and queen together. Again, got some dimensional tape behind it, and then just a bit of a halo or just a bit of a yellow hue behind it because I didn't want it floating on the front of a white card. And I'm just going to put, we are two of a kind. Again, two of a kind here can be two of a kind of the same card. You know, when you play poker, you got two of a kind, a pair if they call it. But this is an anniversary card. We're two of a kind. Happy anniversary. I thought it was kind of cute. So different ways of using these cards. Again, a slightly different card size here as well. This again, I liked using a little bit of color ink at the back before I place, so you can see me do that for pretty much all the cards. You can do ink splatters, you can do sprays, you can do a lot of things, but I just use a little bit of distress ink to put a bit of a hue behind each of the die cuts, so there's a little bit of color behind it. I like the way that turned out, and I just put all of my sentiments together. So you can see the card assembly going really fast once you've got your die cuts and sentiments all ready to go. The next card here, I've got the sentiment already hot foiled onto the card panel in the front, and I'm going to use the joker on its own there without the frame to just die cut the word joker on it so that it goes through, you can see through. And I'm going to keep the alphabets because I'll be using it in another card later on. You'll see me do that. So a few ways to use the joker, so you can use it with or without the frame, and you've got that element there. So just remove it with a little pokey tool because it die cuts really well and nice because it's a nice good die that cuts through. And when you put your card behind it, you can see the word joker quite clearly in the white card. So this panel, I'm just going to place it onto the card front. So this is one of my larger cards, which is double the size of my usual A6 card, which is 21 centimeters by 14.8 centimeters. So it's a nice large card to place the joker and the layered shapes of the sweets that comes from the Kaleidoscope Noble Sweets die set. So it kind of matches the colors of the joker, and I like that it stands out quite well in that black background. So just using some liquid glue to just place all the four shapes in the corner instead of putting the shapes in a row and putting it in the corner, and I put it in a row later on. I use a slightly smaller shape. So different ways of assembling the joker. You can even put the joker on its own on an A2 card size or A6 card size, on a smaller card is what I'm saying. But I wanted to use all these elements together because I think it goes well together, and I like the color coordination against that darker background. I like the color. I was going to do some splatters, but I thought I'll keep it clean and just let the die cuts speak for themselves with the hot foiling and some die cutting of the sentiment. Here I'm just doing again some very light ink blending, but before that I'm going to use that, I would say like a stencil or a guide, so that I can place all that the alphabets joker. So that's the guide that I'm going to use because I want to spell the word out instead of die cutting. So all that die cut elements just now, I've saved it. So I'm just going to use that as a guide and use a liquid glue and just place them. It's a little bit tedious to do this, but I didn't want to do any wastage, and I wanted to show you the different ways that you can use it. So every time you put the alphabet, make sure you poke it through so it doesn't stick to that panel there. So you got to do it one by one. Make sure you smudge excess glue so it doesn't stick to that panel there, and it goes right to the card front. So it does take a little bit of time, not too long actually. Once you get the hang of it, you can do it really quickly. So that's it, the Joker there. And I end up putting the 4 different shapes. And these tiny shapes here, I've used all the colors from the Joker that I've put together. And it comes from the Pip and Rank die set. So the shapes are smaller. So I just wanted the colors to all go together. Initially, I was just going to put it at the side on one side, but end up doing it the other side as well because I wanted to show it as though it's the front card front, and I've got the sentiment hot fold on the card front itself. Here I'm doing a trifold card because I'm going to go with the sentiment that says here's to a winning hand, and I was going to put the winning hand inside just to give it a little bit of differentiation. So I've found the middle of that card panel by just putting a cross on from the either diagonal side, and I'm going to put 10JQKA, which is a royal flush, I think it's called, and that's a winning hand. So that's me putting that sentiment in the front, and then when you open the panel, you see the winning hand. That's my version of it anyway. So I've got a little bit, instead of putting a matte, I've just put some ink blending, and I'm going to just place that deluxe deck that I've hot foiled on the front, and then I'm just going to add the sentiment. Now I've got the red die cut of the Pip and Rank. I was going to put that in the corners, but I decided not to do that. I just went with just leaving it as is because I think the deluxe deck, this is the negative image of the deluxe deck. I just wanted to leave it as is, and I like the combination of the red and black. Just keep it quite simple, and then you open it, you can see the panel, and then you can write your message in the middle panel. I think it's pretty. I do make another trifold card as well, and this is an A6 card, so it's a smaller card. And here's just me putting together all of the Kaleidoscope Noble Sweets die cuts that I put together. So here I went with black and red because traditionally in the cards, the diamond and heart is red and the other 2 shapes is going to be black. So I just decided to go with that. And I didn't want to put it as usual on its own. So I put a little bit of a background of blue, my tumble glass, and I'm going to put the sentiment there, shuffling in some love and laughter. And I've got a very slight sentiment, happy birthday. This is from sentiments that I've done ages ago. I've got a whole lot of sentiments that I've hot foiled. It's one of the older Spellbinders glimmer set or hot foil sentiment set that I've put together. And I'm just going to slit it in with the banner. So you've got a bit of space at the bottom. Just slide it in there. Happy birthday. I just thought it goes. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it just goes for putting another sentiment in the under the banner like that? I just wanted to add that in because I wanted the sentiment happy birthday on it. So got quite a few friends who like cards, and I think this will be really nice cards for them to receive on their birthday. And this is another one that I've got coordinating the Kaleidoscope Noble Sweet die cuts here with this Joker. But I decided to put, just to add a bit of black to that, I'm going to put the Pip and Rank smaller shapes there from the Pip and Rank die set on it and just assemble it. Now here I'm going to put the Joker at the top. Rather than just do anything, I'm just going to die cut it. So you can see the die cut, but I'm going to leave the alphabets in there so you can still see the word Joker there. I'm just going to leave it as is, and I put a bit of tape behind it so it keeps all the alphabets in place. I really hope you find all of these various ways of assembling, putting the cards together, how I use the different die sets and hot foils and BetterPress plates together. I hope you find it as a really helpful guide and you're inspired by the different ways that I've used the die sets, the sentiments, and sometimes when you see all these different ideas, you'll come up with even better ideas as you start experimenting. And that's the thing, once you start creating and once you start using the same product a few times or you see it used in different ways, you come up with better ideas. I bet some of you, when you start creating with this, when you see all these various ideas out there, you come up with better ideas. So do share them and let me know what you're what you're excited about, what you think goes well, what you think doesn't go well. I really like hearing from you guys once I've put videos out. And if you're still watching the video, thank you so much. I know it's a long video, so I really hope that it's really got your creative juices going. So here again, for the background, I'm just using colors that I've used in the die cut. So I've got Razzleberry from Altenew, a Lagoon from Altenew inks as well, and some Distress ink, Fossilized Amber. These are the colors that I think are closest to the colors of the card that I've used in the Joker die cut, because I just wanted to have a bit of a background there. I just like that look actually. I wish I'd done a bit of splatters on this one. I think it would have looked nice as well. I kind of forgot about the whole splatter thing. I did want to use splatter in one of them and I totally forgot about it. And now that I'm doing the voiceover, I'm looking at the card and I'm thinking it could have done with a bit of splatters, but never mind. Next time I should really give it a bit of a time to let it sink in. And then I've got a sentiment here that I've already die cut. Put a little bit of foam behind it just to get a bit of dimension. Sending you a royal flush of good wishes. I was going to put a royal flush on the cards that were held by the Joker, but just there's no space on it. Yeah, this is going to be a large card as well that I'm doing. So I'm just doing a bit of a border. So just since rather than using a black card, there's another way you can give a border by just using some black ink and just put it around it. And there you go, you've got a border already. And I just need to place the card onto it and the card's completed. It's a big card, but I like the way it turned out. And you can see the subtle ink blending to see the word Joker. In this card here, I'm just using the queen, one queen, and I'm just going to put a happy birthday at the bottom there, and I'll put a slight simple sentiment, slide it in as I did under the banner. I like the fact you just use one on its own, and I've got Hello Sweet Friend that I've hot foiled in teal. As I said, I've got all these sentiments available and it's going to be easy to put in. But I just thought I wanted to add a few more flowers and those roses. So I die cut a few more and I just added it around the banner. I do like adding additional flowers and I think it's ideal. I did want to change the lip color of the queen so you can see the lip, the rose colored there. I didn't quite attach it. I will attach it later on. So I just have it there in the side because I was thinking whether to leave it as a pink rosy but lips or just add the red, and I think I do add the red to go more with the whole ensemble later on. And so you go, I just add a few additional roses around the banner. I think it looks kind of pretty and quite simple without, I like leaving a little bit of white space at the bottom so you can see the simplicity of the card. The next card here, I'm going to be showing you how I put together the hot foiled sentiment. So this is the hot foiled, not the sentiment, hot foiled deluxe deck because it's so rich, the gold. I don't do much. I've got the background here and I just put a strip of a sentiment that I've hot foiled on black card with gold polished brass, I think it is, and that's it. So the deluxe deck background is so rich and it's so beautiful that you don't have to do much. You can just leave it as is. But if you use a lighter color, you can clearly do more. Here I'm doing a bit of a fall resist. So I've used the Prism hot foil here. So I'll have the negative and the positive images and I do some ink blending with these three colors: Peeled Paint, Salvaged Patina, and Prize Ribbon. These are my go-to colors where I have a teal, green, and blue. I tend to have them in most of the cards I create, at least one card here. So I'm going to be just doing the background. I'm keeping the assembly really simple because it's got such a rich background, and per the color Prism, it tends to catch all the colors around it. So it's really shiny and it's really quite glaring sometimes. So I'm going to put a really simple sentiment. I wipe off all the excess ink on the foiled areas. And there you go. You've got the positive and negative. Both I've done the same color ink blending. I'll just attach it onto an A2 card and put a simple sentiment on it, which is thank you and happy anniversary. Simple, that all these sentiments I've previously hot foiled and I have it available in my craft space. With the aid of a tea ruler, I make sure it's nice and straight, and see how rich the background looks, that you don't have to do much, just that sentiment. It's just beautiful on its own. I like having rich backgrounds like this where you don't have to do sentiment. You don't have to do too much to the card, just put a sentiment and you're done, because it really allows you to make some quick cards and some nice card sets, if you like. In fact, I do end up making a card set when I use the same background and I use the letterpress method, which I'll show you shortly. So these are the two cards I created. I do like how they turned out. It's quite nice and pretty. Here's the letterpress I'm going to use with my BetterPress system. I'm using the Deluxe deck. So using BetterPress inks here. So I'm using the Desert Sunset BetterPress inks. So I got the clay, and then I'm just making sure the edges are not too sharp. So I'm just making it a little bit blunter, or smooshing it with some dry cloth. Got the coastal, and then I will use the Tuscan at the bottom just to mix the colors up. Because they come from one set, I know all the colors will go well together. So you can either use different colors or use one color. So this is one way of doing it. I'll show you a couple of ways that I put it together. I end up making at least 10 of these panels, but it's so easy to put them together because you can do it in either bright colors, mixed colors, pastel colors. You just put it through your platinum machine, and there you go. How pretty does that look, and how fast that took, under a minute. When you use BetterPress inks, I do use the archival ink cleaner to make sure your BetterPress plate is nice and clean, but it will stain. Even if it stains, don't worry too much about it because it still will function as it's supposed to function. So if you use BetterPress inks, it'll stain. You can use other inks with your BetterPress plates as well. But I think BetterPress inks gives you a nice sharp image, but I have got quite good results with some other inks as well, especially when you use pastel. So I do use some of my Altenew inks to get the pastel color. Like this one, I use the Vanilla Cream from Altenew Crisp Dye ink. This one, I'm going to be using two colors. So rather than tap it, I'm just smooshing it a little bit so that the two colors, when they come together, they kind of blend better together. So there's no sharp edges between the two colors. I think that's a better way to do it. And they're also closer in color family. And see how well they blend together. So this is another panel. Here are all the panels. I did some blending of two different colors, and some of it one color. And here I went crazy with all the pastels. I do like the pastel colors. They turned out really, really pretty. And then you've got some that I've put extra colors in it. I'm going to use my Precision Layering A2A die set to cut or to die cut these panels. And then I'll use the corner, 1-2 punch corner rounder and notch from Spellbinders to get the corners nice and round. These letterpressed panels are easy to put together, and I do use all of them onto an A2 card. The A2 card measures 4¼ inches by 5½ inches, and most of them, rather than use a mat, I do some ink blending to give it a bit of a border, and I just add a sentiment, and this is a simple sentiment, happy birthday, and I use the banner, done. It's a great way to make a card set. Here are all the cards I've completed. And this is where I use the Kaleidoscope Noble Sweets, and I did unlay it. Remember, you can use even one layer, the thinnest layer, to use a background of it. And I've put some extra colors here, and I did like putting some background ink blending of all the colors. In fact, I've done that in most of the cards. Sometimes when you get into a particular type of putting the cards together, and this is what I've done here, background of ink blending, and I've done it for these panels as well. You saw me put this card together. In fact, you'd have seen me put most of the cards together. And this is just a final roundup of all the cards that I've created. I do like the hot foil sentiments, and I also do like all of the die cuts that I put together. They look intricate and takes a bit of time, but I like the fact that I've managed to use all components of the die sets, the different hairstyles, the different headgear, the different props for the kings, the queens, the backgrounds, and I think they all look so gorgeous and such a representation of cards that we play. And I've even tried to do something slightly different by using the king and queen to make an anniversary card. I hope these are nice inspiration for you when you get your sets. And here I did a whole load of hot foil of the Deluxe deck background. And again, this is another way to make some simple backgrounds and a simple card set. So either you hot foil or you letterpress, you can get some simple cards here. All of it I've used just a background and a sentiment. And I didn't feel I needed to put anything on it because I think it spoils the beautiful background. So I just went with a sentiment. And here is a happy birthday that I used from a different die set, the Layered Script Sentiments die set. And I've done a trifold card here, again showing you the royal flush because the sentiment says here's to a winning hand. I think it's appropriate. And we are two of a kind, happy birthday. Another trifold card where you've got two pairs here, so two of a kind. That's kind of why I went with it. So I've learned to play poker and I decided to go with that knowledge in the cards I've made here. And here I've used Hello. The Hello is from another die set. Again, it's from the wonderful script Sentiment. And I've got this here, a couple of different colors that I've letterpressed. So all this letterpress here, this is a pastel one. I've decided to put one of the suites from the Kaleidoscope Noble suite. And here I've got the thanks. The thanks is from the layered script sentiments as well. I've got it in my craft space now, so I like using these sentiments when I make many different cards. I do like the pastel background of the deluxe deck. I think it looks really, really great when you've got those rich backgrounds, which lovely pattern like that. And I do like this mixture of different colors as well. And all of that background borders, if you like, they are all just swiping on blending of ink rather than putting a matte and making the card heavier. For this pastel background, I decided to do a joker, and that joker there is a stenciled joker. So after I die cut the word joker, I've just stenciled it. And here the joker, I've just taken the actual wording and stuck it together. So you can use that sentiment joker a few different ways. So here I've stuck the wording, and then the other one there I've done some stenciling. So different ways of using the sentiment joker. I like that. So you can use it horizontally or vertically. And then I've got here where I've just die cut it and you can see the background. It's quite versatile, as I say, these dies. Depends how you want to use it. And I've done different size cards as well. So these cards are double the size of that A6 card that you see on the right. And they can accommodate a lot more components onto it. Some of it is a bit more elements on it. Some have got more white space. I do like these cards that I've created with the Joker because I think they're nice and colorful, and that really adds to the gaiety of the card. And this is the enhancing suit facets that I've done hot foiled really. I did not do any letterpressing with this. I've hot foiled and done some ink blending and some coloring with my Copic markers, and that's my huge card, which is 10 inches by 7 inches. I really hope you've enjoyed all of the cards I've created. Here are close-up pictures of all the cards that I've created. Do let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. I love to get some constructive comments to see how I can improve and see what I'm doing right or not. Thank you so much for stopping by and bearing with this long video. Do bookmark it, and I will timestamp all the different compilation or assembly of the dies so you can check it out when you get your die set and you want to assemble them, so you can be guided on how to put them together. Do not give up. Do not be overwhelmed by the so many dies, because the more you use a product, the more familiar with it and the better cards you can create. Thank you so much for stopping by. I've got all the products I've used in the description below, so do check it out. Happy crafting. When you get your sets, do get the Jack of all trades and get it all together so you can use them all interchangeably. And don't forget the Wild Joker that's just released a week ago. I hope you've enjoyed the video, you're inspired, and you're raring to go with your creativity. I'll catch you at my next video. Do take care, everyone.